So, Kev, you do the introduction. I'll pass it back.
Yep. There we go. Hey, everybody. It is Thursday, the 3rd of March, which means it's time for the Prove It Live podcast. We have a great show for you today. We had a wonderful guest. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to my very handsome co-host, Mr. Mike Ferry.
Well, thanks, Kevin. Appreciate the heartfelt and accurate description.
Very accurate, I feel. Yeah.
Inaccurate? Is that what you said?
Oh, it's very accurate.
Some accurate.
I mean, luckily, this isn't just an audio podcast, so people can attest. But
this is true.
Anyway, I am Mike Ferry from the Farm Baseball Performance Institute, along with the aforementioned Dr. Kevin McGovern, our producer at large, Ryan Gagne-Fructis, and of course, our guest today, Jason Colleran. So we typically would have like a top of the order. Today, we're gonna skip that because we want to spend a little bit more time with our guest, and Kevin just threw his product up on the screen. So Kevin, I'm gonna pass it back to you and let's talk about what you got in your hands there.
Yeah, so this is Jason Colleran, and his product is the Kinetic arm, which I just he was happy enough to send me one in the mail. I just got it 2 days ago, and actually used it yesterday and on one client already. And I got to tell you, it is from a physical therapist standpoint, from a movement standpoint, it's a pretty good piece of machinery. And the best thing about it, the simplicity, I don't mean the simplicity of the technology behind it, but like, Velcro, right? Like, why didn't I invent Velcro? Right. But it's fantastic. It fits great. Doesn't fit me. I need a little larger size, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. But it's everything that it's supposed to do of offloading stress on the arm. I mean, I had a kid yesterday with an injured elbow, a UCL injury, was able to throw. His feedback was great. That was very comfortable. And the other, and Jason will certainly talk about this, but one of the other byproducts of it is, Mike and I are big arm path guys. Is it really like, boom, immediately got him into a significantly better arm path without having to do so much tactile and positional movement. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Jason. Jason, again, from the Kinetic arms, going to probably tell a little about himself, and we can get into a discussion about this epidemic of arm injuries and Jason's quest and passion to rid the world of arm injuries.
Yes.
So,
Jason, if you wouldn't mind, obviously introduce yourself and tell us a little bit what made you get involved in this, right? And the idea of human movement, arm, elbow stress, arm injuries, etc.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. So played baseball my whole life. From around 11 or 12, my arm started hurting, and I just could never get rid of it. I tried, everything I saw, weighted balls, blew the arm out, a lot of long toss, blew the arm out, started lifting heavy weights, same thing, blew the arm out. So at this point, I've been, a PT or strength coach for around personal trainer and strength coach for around 20 years. I opened my facility in Atlanta, Elite Edge, about 11 years ago. And the reason is because, people deserve better. The fitness industry is a giant sham, much like a lot of the trainers we see in baseball. It's, there's a lot of parallels there. So I worked as a muscle specialist for about the past 11 or 12 years. So I'll consult for orthos, chiros, PTs and kind of fill in the gaps for them or help them figure out why their patient or their athlete is not progressing. So whether it's, post-surgery or just, chronic issues, we can do some precise positional muscle testing and then have strategic progressions from that to the training floor, to the field. So it was actually the Motus sensor. I saw an article for that. It said the sleeve that could save baseball. And I thought, nope, that's just an arm pedometer. There's no way. And then I thought, wait a second, after going through all the muscle testing classes and the classes about, physics and resistance mechanics, I can merge kind of internal and external performance because that hasn't been done, in my opinion. So I thought, well, I can build an external muscular system where we can offload stress in the weakest positions. So it took about 4 years to get the first working prototype, good enough to put into production because I'm big on integrity. So it has to do exactly what I say it's going to do. And being a new concept, a new product, it's, going to catch a lot of heat, but I enjoy it actually. So it's been a great journey. Met a lot of great people. All the interactions are genuine. I always tell people, I'm not trying to sell it to you. I'm just showing you how you can protect your arm and play longer or play better. If you like it, great. If not, but at least give it a try, and don't look back, a couple years down the line and say you wish you would have tried it out, because you probably could have still been on the field.
I think that's great. So what we do on this show, as everybody knows, is, we spend a lot of time calling out, people that are giving poor instruction and at an even more extreme level, potentially hurting players and kids, youth players. And so, I thought it was really important when I talked to Kevin about bringing you on that, I think it's just as important when you have someone like yourself that, and, all credit to you that you're one of the guys working on the fix. You recognize that there's a problem and you're working on fixing it. And I think that's that's very commendable. Speaking of, right. So we deal a lot with the gurus out there, right? There's a lot of gurus online talking about social media. There's you pose a question in a baseball development group or anything like that, or instruction, and you wouldn't believe how many gurus that exist. They're out there by the hundreds of thousands.
I didn't know there were that many. There are a lot.
They can't wait to tell you what they know, right? And
in very long words.
Very long words, and they usually start with saying, "In short, ... So do you see the same thing? Do you see that there's a lot of bad information? I hate to use the word misinformation. It's almost like a political word now, but like bad information, and charlatan's kind of a big word, kind of an extreme word, but it's kind of what I see, right? It's people just kind of posing and giving bad information. Are you dealing with the same thing?
Yeah, I think, to me, if someone's charging money for that, it's just flat out fraud, and there needs to be some accountability. And I realize, everybody can hide behind a keyboard and talk tough behind a keyboard, but I foresee, like in the fitness industry, I hope there's some, liability and legal ramifications for the crap that they're charging for. But I always ask people, I encourage people to ask more questions. If there's that many experts out there and this technology is so advanced and these doctors are so smart and all these gurus know what they're talking about, why are there so many arm injuries?
Right. Exactly.
It doesn't make sense.
Nope.
And I always ask them, and with the guys, some of the guys that we talk about offline, that are young and they got the time to, make all the content. Like, I'm doing this shit in real life. Like, I don't have time for that. Like, people like us are actually doing it and actually trying to fix the problem, not just getting online trying to profit off of people that don't know any better.
You make a good point. The accountability, there is accountability, like, in Kevin's world, right? As a physical therapy, Kevin, if you injure somebody, right, you're going to be held accountable for that.
Yeah, I have to carry insurance for that, which isn't cheap, by the way.
Right. Which is amazing, because, you do have, there's, and I don't even know what to call. I'm going to use gurus as a sort of like the general term. Right. But they're out there throwing things out with zero accountability. And as Jason, as you mentioned, it's not even that the injuries aren't getting better. They're getting worse. So we, many episodes ago, we went through the numbers, and I think we took it back to like 1997, and it's not quite exponential, but it's every year there's a pretty significant increase. We talked last year about, in September, the New York Yankees had more injuries than the AFC East in the NFL, which is mind blowing. Is full contact sport like football.
Well, and now we've even found out that the Yankees may have brushed some under the table, right? We just found out this week that there are actually two of their young players in lower minor leagues just had Tommy John surgery, which makes them having an outfielder, an infielder,
right,
4 or 5 pitches. It's heartbreaking, dude. It truly is, because I think it's completely 1,000% preventable. Now, that means that there's going to have to be some wholesale changes, but to me at this point now, and we like to be controversial, if you're having Tommy John surgery, you've made a choice to have it. And I don't mean you made a choice because you're meaning that your whole training, your throwing, everything, because again, I go back to the tennis player. I go back to Serena Williams, who serves, even probably today in her early 40s, serves probably 1,000 times a week. She's not taking 4 days off. She doesn't need shoulder surgery. She doesn't need Tommy John surgery, because the mechanic of that movement, and the gurus will say it's a different movement. I asked them to tell me how it's different, and they can't. It's the same thing, but it's the timing different, right? The arm path is different, and something's got to change, and it's not going to change at the high school. I even think maybe high school is savable, but with some of the parents out there, I don't think that's even savable. I think it's got to be at the little guy, little gal, the little league level, when people first, we need better throwing. We've got to get rid of the stupid T, because that then, gets into the Wheel of Fortune. Then there's a W and the M, and all those letters are bad. And, it's just, we need better. And unfortunately at that, as we talked about, at that level, we don't have the best coaches. And no disrespect to the dads out there, like my dad was my coach. Yeah. They're volunteer,
they're doing their best. Yeah.
And we've talked about on the show, we need an avatar. Meaning we need this is the right. These are, within this standard deviation is where people should be at each point. And we need to drill that in at the little league level and give these coaches and parents something to go by, so that when the kid's not 13, 14, I mean, I've seen as young as 12 in my office with, growth plate fractures. That's just insane. That's literally insane.
So what's really cool, Jason? Yeah, go for it.
What he said about it being a choice. I think this will, I talk about this in the fitness world and the rehab world, but in baseball, with you saying that, if they had Tommy John, it's a choice. So to break that down, if you keep taking your car to a mechanic and the problem is not getting fixed or it's getting worse, would you keep going back to that mechanic?
Yes.
The answer is no.
Why? Funny enough, I knew a mechanic like that growing up, and he had a very good business.
he can make a lot of money as a pitching instructor, apparently.
In bizarre world, yes, right.
But these athletes, they continue to do the subpar training that's getting them injured, and they feel it. That pain is like a check engine light, right? So they think, if I could just keep driving my car or drive it faster at the same pace, it makes no sense. But these athletes, and especially these parents, they have to step back and think, if I'm not getting the results, or if I'm getting the opposite of what I'm paying for, go find someone else.
Jason, Jason, stop. I'm going to a guru. Do you understand that this person was a trainer for the bloody blah blah blah? Do you understand? That's where I'm taking my kid.
That's also
$10,000. Yeah.
The kids are being taught that. The parents are even being taught that, and that's the tough part about it, right? Is they don't know. They don't know the good from the bad. And if you take you take a kid to 3 instructors, right? And most dads, right, that a lot of them weren't ball players, even if they were athletes, you might have played another sport. They're not going to be able to tell you what's the good from the bad. They're not. They're going to ask little Johnny, hey, how'd your lesson go? Or it was great. Right. And not to mention the fact that they're also being taught that, because you mentioned, the pain is the check engine light, but is it good pain, Jason? Is it the good kind? Because you hear that a lot too, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, these kids literally think that there's good pain and then there's bad pain. How you differentiate, I don't know. How they're supposed to differentiate.
I always thought as an athlete, growing up and even, competing in tournaments, if my body didn't hurt, I wasn't training hard enough. And that's exactly why I was injured all the time. So it's almost like if you want to get a tan, you don't go out there and lay under the sun for an hour and, burn your whole body. There has to be strategic progressions, but that's what's missing in the industry. They think everybody's ready to start chucking these weighted balls, and then they wonder why their arm blew out, or with the underload. I don't remember who it was with the Astros that could throw the 3-ounce ball the hardest. It was from Vandy. And look what happened.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
It's an inevitable conclusion. So Jay, on that point, Mike and I have talked about, probably more me that I harp on this, that for some reason baseball seems to have glorified negative results, right? We can sit here and talk about trainers, we can talk about some guys that their website has filled with players that have been to this person, that all of them are out of baseball because of an arm injury, right? So I don't want
didn't get them there.
Yeah. So I'm like, I don't go on the pro painter's website and be like, okay, here are all the bad houses that you did and hire that guy, right? Or come home after, if I pay Sam to paint my house and come in the driveway and there's either the house is half painted or maybe painted the windows and be like, oh, Sam, this guy, well, I get the testimonial because to me, I don't understand that. We have, having in an area where that guy played quarterback there, Tom Brady, and his trainer, Alex Guerrero, has been pounded, right? I mean, and here's Tom Brady, besides his lineman rolling into the back of his leg, would play in the National Football League unharmed for 22 years. His trainer is like a pariah. Like, I'm not sure what he does, but someone should be looking into that and be like, hey, there might be some good basic ideas here, because it's not a fluke that Tom Brady, who was drafted in like I don't know what round, with like 12th, whatever round it was, completely looking non-athletic, is now the greatest of all time. I mean, there's some the trainer has to have some part of that success, right? I mean, it is what it is.
So at the same time, the other side of the coin, it may not be what he's doing that is so successful. It could be what he's not doing that makes all these other trainers unsuccessful. And that's what people don't think about and really need to consider. Why are we throwing around all these heavy barbells, making the athlete tighter, less mobile, less explosive with rotation? So maybe we should look at what he's not doing.
It's a great point. Tom's talked about that, in one of his 700 documentaries that he has now. But he talked about when he first met Alex, he was talking about bands and med balls and pliability and stretching. And he's like, what? He's like, that's like, high school crap, and, but, obviously gave him a shot and learned a ton. So I don't know exactly the ins and outs. They keep that pretty close to the vest, but he's clearly doing things differently. And that's a really good point, Jason, is like, what he's not doing versus what the other guy's doing. And I could see that too. It's, Kevin talks about, living in the penthouse, right? So all these trainers, so when they want to be in the penthouse, they want to do all the fancy, innovative looking type of exercises. And meanwhile, the kid can't do a proper squat with body weight, and so that's, Kevin does it. I do the same with instructions. Try to take it down to the basement first. The foundation is the most important, right? If you can't have proper posture, your body's not going to move the right way, right? And so, I think that's a huge deal that no one really talks about. But how many? I'm sure you've seen athletes that come in and they're pretty high level athletes and they can't move.
I've had some pretty high level NFL, MLB guys come in and they say, when we talk about training, they say, I'm not doing hang cleans. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I say, great, because I wouldn't have you do that.
Right.
And then, to me, and again, I stepped away from baseball because of all the egos and the ignorance. I couldn't be around it anymore. So I'm working with, my brother was in a coma, told he'd never walk again. I got him walking again. I've had stroke victims, traumatic brain injuries. So I want to help. I mean, my PT clients, multiple failed cervical fusions, shoulder replacements. I want the most jacked up cases because anybody can train an athlete. And I think that's where they're going wrong with it. And then we got to remember too, like, simple doesn't sell. If I told you we were going to do positional isometrics and I can give you objective data with the digital dyno instantaneously, but you see this Jameis Winston running with crab legs on a BOSU while, doing a shake weight and a fidget spinner. And that's what people want to do. Cause man, that's exciting.
And
it's impressive.
What's the Oculus? Wearing an Oculus at the same time. Yeah. And it's funny, you said about what they're not doing. I saw last night and looking up some stuff for our award-winning Why Would You Do That segment. Someone's got this, throw 90 plus. I don't know what to name it, but here are the metrics, not movement. And so in order to throw 90 plus, you have to be able to deadlift 400 pounds and squat 400 pounds. So these are the metrics. Now I watched the guy squat and I was like, oh,
to throw how fast?
To throw 90. So if you want
to Chris Sales can squat 400 pounds.
If you want to throw
those
90,
little peg legs.
Yeah, right. If you want to throw 90, you have to be able to deadlift 400, squat 400. you had it, and he's showing these, right? You had to do a pull-up. The guy does a pull-up, his upper traps literally leave the solar system, right? They're over his head, right? he's doing a pull-up, right? And I'm like, oh my God, this is criminal. So these kids look, oh, Dad, I got to go. And what's a kid going to do? He's going to go down into the basement at his dad's weight, and he's going to start to do things because he saw on this video that if you can throw night, you know, they'll have the running guns where the guy runs from across the street, jumps over the neighbor's fence and does this pull down, right? And does that because that happens a lot in cricket. But, you know, and that's what happened. It's kind of like, you know, years ago, everyone knows I'm a huge wrestling fan, you know, like when it would come on, please do not try this at home, right? That's what we need. Like when these guys go, please do not try this at home because it doesn't work. You're going to get hurt, right? But that's what I remember. Like that's when it came on because there were so many, you know, WWE. There actually were kids that were breaking their neck doing suplexing each other, in their backyard. Yeah. So it's that stuff that I see that drives me insane.
So I've had two athletes from probably the program that you're talking about, and they were told name a program online or a place where they charge thousands of dollars. I guarantee I've had 3 to 4 athletes that were effing nightmare when they got here. So the two kids I had from there, one's had I think 2 Tommy Johns. I don't remember if the other kid had one. They're in pain because they're told that they have to have a certain amount of degrees of internal rotation at the hip. I've got on my computer, I have pictures of different shaped acetabulums or hip sockets and also different shaped femurs. So the fact that this guy has a master's degree and doesn't understand the basics of structure dictates function. And I've had the guys on your program.
We're talking about the same place.
They couldn't pass a single positional muscle test, which means neurologically they're screwed. So what do? We get them stable, we get them throwing, and I'll send you the text messages. I posted them on my Instagram about how they're finally able to throw pain-free after like a year.
Wow.
So what good were all those metrics and BS ways of evaluating, which by the way, when you get a degree like that, there are 0 classes with practical application in teaching resistance mechanics. 0. So to come out of that and make this stuff up, to me, it's fraud. You're ripping people off and you're getting kids hurt. And you know what? I've had Shane Green, I've had Matt Ryan, I got Colin McHugh coming in at 130. So I'm going to have him squat 400 pounds. We'll see how well that goes.
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny that you say that.
No.
You know, in my PT, you know, I was always a back of the class sitter, you know, because I'm always a guy who'll talk, you know, someone will say, hey, the sky is blue. I'll be like, oh, okay, prove it. You know, I went to one sports medicine conference where, you know, thank God it was in Vegas. The guy goes, University of Cincinnati trainer says, you know, where Nick Van Exel went to school, you know, nothing against University of Cincinnati, but the guy literally goes, yeah, we graduate 99% of our student athletes. I'm like, that's false. I literally said, so people look like, dude, Yale doesn't graduate 99%. Like, how do you say stuff like that? Right. So, you know, I blew my knee out when I was 16 years old. You know, getting into PT where, you know, positional muscle test, you know, I can kick someone across the room. I would never, ever do playing basketball all through, you know, intramural stuff through college. I would never land on that leg because I couldn't do even pitching. I couldn't do a really good one-legged squat because I didn't have the function. It would hurt or it wouldn't feel right. So yeah, by the book, by the degree, yeah, I've got 5 out of 5 leg strength, but not function. And that's kind of where my game test came along. I needed someone to test function because I think in school, everything's about either for at least PT, what's your diagnosis and how does that portray the insurance company, not necessarily function. And then what was out there, and no disrespect to the FMS and all these other tests, those are too high level for Granny because I needed something that would do Granny and LeBron James, right? And it was just foundational movement was what I just kind of one day said, oh yeah, that's where it came from.
So speaking of movement, right? So because I want to get back to the kinetic arm here. So what made you be like, obviously there had to be a starting point from this thing. Obviously I'm assuming you're either personally seeing, which I know you have experience personally seeing kids that had injuries, players with injuries. You're seeing it probably the same way we're seeing it, social media, etc., watching ESPN. what was sort of the first idea that kicked this off? What made you think like, hey, I have an idea that I can fix this or at least help it?
Well, knowing, that the elbow does flexion and extension, right? So if we've got the arm, the forearm, the hand, the ball, and then, going back and the humerus torques forward, we get that dynamic valgus. I thought, well, in our lower extremity, we've got the sartorius. That's a 2-joint muscle. So when you have your leg up and your knee bent, so hip flexion, knee flexion, and you internally rotate it, to shorten that muscle, it would take the femur into external rotation.
Right.
I thought, well, interesting. So anatomically, we have that already for our lower extremity. What if we had that for our upper extremity? And the reason that all the braces that are out there don't work if they address just the elbow or just the shoulder, as Kevin's well aware too, if you have like an anterior tilt to the scapula, that's going to internally rotate the humerus. So now we're changing the way that stress is going to affect the elbow joint. But if we have an issue with the elbow and we try to just, immobilize or stabilize that, it's going to go back to the shoulder. So I've seen it bounce back and forth plenty of times. So I thought, okay, we definitely have to address 2 joints. And then on top of that, we have the acceleration and the deceleration. So how can we reinforce this at end range without restricting motion? And then I thought, well, what if I could make it adjustable where you could just make a little shift to where it's so user-friendly and so easy to dial in the fit? I mean, Garrett Whitlock with the Red Sox, he's 6'6". I mean, he reaches almost down to South America when he throws, and he got it dialed in a couple throws. I mean, so it's cool. And then, guys like Farnsworth, completely blew out his shoulder. Then he came in, put it on. He's throwing gas pain-free. So
I need a bigger strap.
It's really, I think
it says extra large, but it's
you need a 3X.
It's probably, it's a new product. It's probably labeled wrong.
Yeah.
What's the quality control there? It's labeled wrong.
Oh man, that's a really touchy subject. The amount of hours I spent correcting.
This is such a nice.
I think it's great that it's helping.
Nice,
it's helping players, no matter, Kevin mentioned earlier, like we harp a lot on arm path, and I know we don't have all day, but I would like to get your take on that in a minute. But what's really cool is that it's going to help you no matter what, right? It's going to, no matter your arm path, it's going to still help. And watching some of your videos that were informative, and you use the Motus sleeve to measure the stress in the elbow, and it's in newtons that it's measured, right? Newton units, I think, right? So, and it's really clear, that these, some were pitch, you had some pitchers, you had some catchers, the before and after, it's clearly reducing stress, So, you say you worked with some quarterbacks too, and I've been on the show a bunch of times and saying that, that a shorter arm path, just, it almost has to be safer, just because you have less chance of arm lag, you have less chance of drag, etc. Do you, in your experience, right? So if you have a quarterback versus a pitcher, what type of range are they similar in terms of their stress? Are the pitchers higher, the quarterbacks higher? What, just in your experience?
So I haven't gathered much data with the quarterbacks. For them, with every baseball player that's put it on in here when I've done an open house has left with one. Same thing at ABCA. Everybody that puts it on, especially coaches, their jaws drop. They're like, wow, it actually does that. But for quarterbacks, it's such an easier application because their arm path is not as long. So for quarterback pitchers, softball players, you can shift it again, so you get more assistance with that acceleration. So we'll see quarterbacks. We've got Liam here that was at Samford. So we've got quarterback country, the Charlie Loeb that was at Syracuse. He's a lefty. He's got a cannon with the sleeve, but he'll put Liam through these workouts. He's getting ready for his pro day. And he can throw bullets for 45 minutes to an hour, and it's not wrecking his arm. And then, another question is, do you build a tolerance, or not a tolerance, but a dependence?
Right.
Get off for the last 5-10 throws. You do have to use your arm to still throw, so you're not going to get any atrophy because of less stress. But, he'll just take it off for the last 5-10 throws and kind of recalibrate everything. But yeah, it's a lot easier to dial in for those shorter arm paths for sure.
And so, like I told you, I'm going to get one for our facility for sure. And it seems like there's a way, you know, like you said, you can almost set it to different, sort of different levels of assistance, I guess is the way to say it. And I saw that also in your videos you had, you know, when they take, what was really kind of blew me away is when they take it off, you know, so they, you know, in the videos for anyone that didn't see, he's got, you know, these pitchers, catchers, he gets a baseline, they're throwing without the sleeve, then they put the sleeve on, you see the lower number of stress, they take it off, throw again, and the stress level remains low. It remains lower than the baseline, which is really cool, because that would be the biggest question for me is like, okay, can you have it, you know, does it work if you take it off? And if not, is this, and I should ask you, is this something that a pitcher can use in a game?
We've had a lot of pitchers use it in a game, and actually the first one that used it, he canceled his Tommy John surgery.
Wow.
So he couldn't throw off a mound for like 8 to 10 months, stabbing medial elbow pain. He comes in, get on the table, do a tune-up, but 2 days later he pitches off the mound, 70 pitches, 0 pain. 2 days after that, 90 pitches, and he wore it in the game both times. 90 pitches, 0 pain, said he felt like he could throw a whole nother game. So now he's throwing pain free even without it. So it's, yeah, it's been really cool to see, you know, athletes using it in a game. I just posted on our Instagram, catcher using it, but pitchers just wear a sleeve over it. You know, that way the umpire or other team doesn't have a problem. But I mean, catchers, we had one catcher wear it over his jersey under his catcher's gear, but usually they'll wear it under the jersey, but position players have left it exposed without any issues. So, I mean, it's one of those things, you know, I think Southwest Baptist University, that coach, Chris Martin, his shortstop was their star player. He had to play second because he couldn't throw. And then he started wearing this. And he said, you know, to him, it's worth $15,000. It's a total game changer because it keeps him in the game. And that's the big reason, you know, for the sleeve is, I mean, baseball got me to where I am today. I wasn't a superstar or anything, but it kept me on the right track in life. Learned a lot of life lessons, you know, like the kid flipping the ball. You know, that was a big topic recently, but, you know, getting to stay in the game and learn those life lessons, that's, you know, it means a lot to hear back from the parents and coaches that, yeah, they're athletes able to keep playing and, you know, their dream and what they've always worked at, they're able to keep doing it. Cause that day when you're done playing, man, that's rough.
Yeah. So to follow that up, so, I mean, you're obviously having success with it. Can you talk about, you know, I mean, it sounds like you got some pretty big time programs that are behind this, right? And some, I think you have some major league teams behind it as well. Is there any, like, are you going back to the social media? That's really where we live. Are you getting anything negative back, you know, and what is it? Is it probably just garbage?
And so sometimes I look at it as an opportunity to educate and post the testimonials where we have like guys like Kyle Farnsworth, Jose Contreras, got a video of, you know, Trevor Hoffman and Flash Gordon throwing with it. You know, so for guys like that have all the experience and then at least a dozen DPTs, PTs, orthos, you know, that are behind it. So it's at times the things that they post, one guy said it defacilitates motor learning and prevents fascia remodeling. Are you remodeling kitchens? Like what the hell does that even, you just said a whole lot of nothing.
Again, big,
and that's what you get.
And guess what? It does absolutely the opposite, right? Yeah. It gives tactile feedback. It gives arm path feedback. It gives movement feedback. So it does. So that's a person who is a hater who didn't have it on. And the best thing about it is there's no instructions, right? It's not, I mean, you put it on and everyone knows where it goes. And all of a sudden it's like, it works. Like there's no, like, we have to put this, it just works. Strap it on 1, 2, 3, and it works. And you could feel it, which is key for athletes to be able to feel what's supposed to happen.
And then, some of the other ones too, said, oh, why don't you just strengthen your shoulder? So that guy looked at it and he like works at a desk at Bell South or something. And another guy.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, not that there's anything wrong with that. Stay in your effing lane, dude. Like this is what I do for a living.
Right.
Had another guy, that's total garbage. Why don't you just strengthen the shoulder right? And then you look and he's got a GoFundMe for his DUI in a gym in his garage. Like, look, bud, be successful in real life before you get on that keyboard because I will rip your soul out 1,000. My wife.
There are such.
My wife will make me take it down later, but I will have my 15 minutes of glory. And then
there are such haters.
I love it because I was going to ask you to follow up if you engage, and it sounds like you do. And that's like I have a hard time with Kevin's usually the one picking the fights because
I don't.
you know what I mean. You go back.
I still, I'm still trying to ask the NPA why you're dragging your foot.
Right.
Of course, they don't answer me. They just say, "Oh, where'd you get your degree from?"
They're more concerned with regurgitating sound bites, and I always say regurgitation blocks innovation, and that's why all these people make these stupid comments, because they regurgitate sound bites from some crappy weekend certification they took, and they think they know everything. And then you've got there was a former pro guy, I think it was Brooks Hall. He commented, "LOL, this is total garbage." Really, bud? Because you just blew your arm out. You literally blew your arm out and could have benefited from a product like this. And now you're selling insurance. I don't think as a little kid, you were saying, you know what? I want to sell insurance when I grow up.
Right.
Pretty sure you want to be a baseball player. And now you're done. Great job, smart ass.
Yeah. Yep. Well, they love to challenge. It's all about the challenge. They can't
Bring it.
It's like they're just waiting.
But
right?
challenge from an area of strength or quality. Like, hey, Jason, I tried this and I gotta tell you, I don't think it does X, Y, or Z.
Oh, because he's not in Jason's face. He doesn't have to look him in the eye.
Hey,
right?
Kevin, we drag our back foot. Although we say go fast and drag our back foot because we don't want the guy to run into the home plate. The best thing, the usual comeback to that is, hey, why do you do this? Is you get still photos of big leaguers doing it, and you go labrum, UCL, rotator cuff, right?
Bing, right?
Right, like 1.001% of the world pitches in the major leagues, right? Okay, great.
Oh, but those guys are usually out on injury, is my point.
Right.
The ones that they use.
I gotta go back to that. So the first time we had a really stupid comment, Chris O'Leary.
Oh,
he
boy.
comments. He says, and feel free to tag him. The guy, he's just a dick. He was disrespectful to my wife, and I would
really.
Yeah, this is the
You don't do
this
that.
is the pain. The pain. Mikey, you know him. He's the pain guy, and
he needs some counseling. That's okay. But
he's had some issues with the Catholic priesthood issue, and that's But he puts it on a site. I'm not telling secrets.
Keep it out of baseball. It's no place. You learn your life lessons at baseball. But anyway, so he states his ignorance in the first sentence of his comment. He says, "I don't see why this would work. I don't understand it." Well, no shit, because you would have invented it if you did. You know what you could do? Instead of being a dick, you could ask a question.
Right.
And learn. Instead of sitting back, and I don't know who the 6-year-old that did his website was, but it's awful.
It's terrible. I'm on it right now. It is.
Yeah,
it's bad.
Well, that's the thing. That's what we need.
He does have a couple things that I agree with. I'm not gonna, a few. Obviously, he at least thinks. Yeah, yes. He at least thinks that that there is an epidemic of arm injuries. Sometimes he goes at people in a way that's I ask a question, and then when you attack me after I've asked like the teacher man. Why are you bending your knee over your toe and causing this valgus stress to your back? Watch the video. Okay. I'm just asking a question.
That's why I can't do Twitter much. I mean, some guys are getting me on more, but you can't even have a question.
I'm gonna keep tagging you.
Well,
even if it's nothing, I'm tagging you.
Go ahead, Jason.
When somebody asks a question, that's an opportunity for them to educate and show why they might have that many followers if they are actually real. But people get threatened when you question them, but I think they're projecting their insecurity and their lack of education. But don't get mad at us for the time you didn't put in to not learn what you should know, and then you post about it. Right. It's a simple means of communication, asking a question so you can learn more. So when they start, firing off, I always say, hey, do you just want to skip straight to name calling, or I can shoot you my address? We can meet out back. Like, I got shit to do, man. Like, I don't have time for the arguing back and forth. Like, answer the question or don't. We genuinely want to know.
Got a woodshed in your backyard? Take them up behind the woodshed.
Got a parking lot.
Meet me at the flagpole at 3 o'clock.
It's really, but that's why I have a hard time going there too, because I can't, it goes right to that. And you mentioned that, Chris, had he started with the I don't understand, right? I don't understand. Could you help explain this to me? Right. I mean, that's now you're just being inquisitive, right? You're trying to learn, because that's what we need. We need people to learn more about, and that's the number one. And like you said, not taking some, 48-hour crash course somewhere or whatever, and then being the guru. All of a sudden you're the guru. I mean, I don't know how many handles are, fill in the blank sports thing guru. Like, first of all, like, there's a certain level of arrogance, 100%. Right. It's like, you trying to convince yourself. Yeah.
Wasn't there a movie? The Guru, The Love? What was there? Isn't there some
the Love Guru?
Was it The Love Guru? We're gonna have the baseball guru. I'm all knowing all things baseball.
You could fill like, the big house with the gurus, right? 100 something thousand. Yeah, for sure. All right, so Jason, where can I know you're getting your feet a little bit more wet with the Twitter, right? So where can people contact you? Where can people find the Kinetic Arm, etc.? There it is.
So the website's thekineticarm.com, and then we're Kinetic Arm on Facebook, Instagram, same thing on Twitter. So shoot a message. I take a good bit of time to answer questions for parents and help educate. Sometimes people ask technical questions, which is great. And again, I welcome all questions because I can answer all of them, and we can get as nerdy as you would ever want to get. I enjoy it. I love the educational part, and having guys like you that talk about it and ask questions, because if we can all learn from each other, we can definitely start to make a difference in the game and cut down on these injuries.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because I feel like, I was going to also ask you what the fix is. I mean, obviously you have a product, you're working on the fix, and like, we didn't have too much time to talk about. I talked about on the show before, things like pitch count, I feel gives a bit of a false sense of security to players and to youth coaches. And, talking offline about it with you, Jason, like you mentioned, there's just a lot of holes in it. It comes from a good place, and it's trying to, it's making an effort to help, but so many holes in it. We need to do more. And I think the fix is doing this, right? Like, us guys, I'm going to call us the good guys, pulling from the same rope, right? Trying to help, trying to ask the right questions, and trying to find a fix the problems. At the end of the day, this is the sport we love. And the last thing you want is to see it just be like injuring kids all the time, and that's worse. And at best, screwing up some kid's swing so he hits $130 and quits baseball by age 13. That's like the best case scenario to some of these people. So obviously we want to move in the direction of fixing the problem. Kevin?
Yeah, so a couple probably people have asked. So I just saw there's one lefty and righty, right? It's not a unilateral. You've got to have, if you're a lefty, you have specific sizes and arms length, I guess would be the point, correct? Even though this extra large here doesn't fit me.
Yeah,
I'm assuming, Okay. And how much is it?
It will. I try to make so it's $199 right now. We've tried to keep that as low as possible just to get out there in the market. I tried to make an ambidextrous one, but I wanted to force angles and lines, pull in there to be real precise, and to have one that's reversible, it just wouldn't work. So we do have right, left, and we have small, medium, and then a large, extra large. So the small fits down to about, I'd say 5'5", 110.
Well,
yes, he does actually have on the back
for the younger athletes. I'm working on a full version.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The back of the box has a size chart.
So it's a great kind of safety for these the coaches of the younger kids that they're volunteers, they're doing their best, and if it's not correct, this is at least a way where we can protect those kids' arms and kind of mitigate the damage that's done, because I'm sure you guys have seen some statistics on, if you get injured when you're younger, probably going to get injured when you're older. So the goal is to make it an imperative piece of safety equipment from a young age, just like you get your batting gloves, you get your glove, you get your Kinetic Arm, and good to go for the season.
Yeah, you made a great point about that. How it's, we have equipment for our feet for grip on the turf, and they have elbow guards and shin guards and everything, and batting gloves, right? So having some for the throwing arm is huge.
Oven mitt.
Oven mitt. That's right. The new oven mitt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
If we got an oven mitt for sliding, you're telling me there's a place for that, but there's not a place for protecting your arm to keep you in the game. That'd be an interesting argument there.
In all fairness, in youth sports, right? So 14U travel ball, you got to hit above 600 to have an oven mitt. Right? You're not hitting over 600 with a couple jacks. You don't get to wear that.
No oven mitt. That's fantastic. All right. Well, is it?
It's Ryan's time to shine.
Is it time, Ryan?
We're gonna go on the why would you do that right now? Let's do it.
Didn't mean to wake you. Why would you do that?
I've been here.
Do that, and our guest is definitely he's been chomping at the bit to do this. So let's go, and we're doing this blind, right? No, we have no one's seen that.
You two have seen one from last week. Remember, I teased a ridiculous one. So you guys have seen that. You gotta let me share my screen here.
Oh yeah, sorry. And I can share the sound too, I think. Oh no, that's
tried that before. Yeah.
No, I gotta share this to all panelists. There we go.
Very self-centered of you.
I know. I'm sorry. All right, you should be good now.
No, you're sharing your screen, dumb.
Look, someone's good.
In the 2020. Yeah, what is that?
I don't know. It's the thing. I don't know. Stop.
I'm just thankful it's only that.
To figure it out. That's I'm on that podcast actually tomorrow or Friday. There we go.
Tomorrow's Friday. Yeah. Okay.
Let's get to
this.
Righty. Okay.
So for those watching at home, there's a person lying on his back, not knees bent, doing a full-blown, horrifically bad sit-up while then hitting a ball into a net while someone throws him soft toss.
All right. First of all, he's behind some bleachers.
Yes.
While there's an actual baseball game going on about 40 feet from him. And I don't know if they dragged this piece of turf. It was there. They got a piece of turf. Laying back with a bat. I you know what? Not often I'm speechless when it comes to why would you do that? But I don't know. This is, I think, if you look at, sometimes you just have to work abs and your swing at the same time, particularly hand path, because of course there's no lower half rotation, right? There's no connectivity to the ground other than his backside. Gets his hands back pretty well, I guess, right? His hand path, by the way, if he's trying to isolate hands, and if I try to take a serious look for this for a minute, they're trying to isolate hands and I don't know, just add sit-ups because why not? His hand path is incorrect. Right. And he's shrugging the bejesus out of his shoulders.
Yeah,
he's hooking them up.
Ryan, how many views does this have?
7,100.
Oh my god.
All right, let's hopefully assume that 7,099 of those are the same reason we're looking at it.
Yeah. I think a good chunk of them are. This was shared by friend of the show, Jeff Fry. So actually, let me rephrase, because this is just 7,100 views of his post, of Jeff's post. So wherever he found this from,
so those are definitely
could be
for
thousands, right?
Yeah. So
on top of that,
it looks warmer there, guys. So maybe we don't know much on the East Coast. Let's ask Jason. He's further south. This might be a southern exercise. You people are just not looking at this right. Jason, is this something we do south of, the DC area?
Dixon?
Yeah. So what happens down there?
Man, I try to give the benefit of the doubt when I see something new, and I always ask people, what is the goal of this exercise or the goal of this movement? And I think the goal of this is, dads want to be creative, and we hope that other dads don't see it and repeat it. But it's very interesting. I mean, for creativity. Not sure but not only what is the goal, but what is the desired adaptation? I can't think of it. I mean, maybe if he buzzed you, you almost took one in the dome and you fell back and you still had your feet in the batter's box and you got to get up for the next pitch. I mean, it could be a reaction.
Yeah.
It could be.
I think the only good thing about this is it's only 12 seconds long, which is great. And that's the only, like, it's not like a 30-second clip. It's like, thank God.
And it is true.
This kid didn't just do 200 days in a row.
It would have been better if it was a 0.1 second clip, but it's.
I wonder how many reps the dad's making him do. Like, how many sit-ups is he actually doing at a time?
Yeah, I want to see more. What other drills do they do? This is really hard.
This is just one of many in a repertoire.
Oh my God! I've heard this is.
Well, let's go on to our next one here.
That was a good one. Why would you do that?
So this next one, let's try this.
What? Oh, I know what this is for. Okay, good. Okay.
He's preparing.
The water out of a boat.
That's right.
Yep.
You nailed it.
You
got it before me.
No. He's trying out for the junior Harlem Globetrotters, right? They have that confetti thing that they throw, right?
That's right. There you go.
Right? It's a travel Globetrotters thing.
Yep.
So again,
he's got. Oh my God! There's text exaggerating to feel gathering under himself and into the non-dominant backside.
Now, a couple things you'll notice here, right? So number one is whoever this, and by the way, we say this all the time, right? So not the kid's fault. He's trying to better himself, and he's trying to obviously become a better hitter in this instance. And same thing as we always try to find, we try to look for, okay, what is the goal here? Obviously they spell it out for us. I don't see how the bucket is helping that, of course. Not to mention what it's doing to his upper body. But one thing I think of note is you notice there's a bit of a scissor kick here, right? Step back. So no trunk rotation, no hips turning,
nothing.
But you got the back foot coming back. Which, you know what? Maybe that's a better method to swing a bucket. I don't know.
So, gentlemen, what does the non-dominant backside mean? Is that your front leg?
That means it's not his dominant backside. He's got two backsides.
Exactly.
The text there really helps me with asking what the goal is, and I don't know what they're exaggerating. Maybe the creativity. Then gathering under himself, what is he actually gathering? Is it like fish, daisies, dust, and then
flies?
His non-dominant backside versus his dominant backside. And that foot kicking out is great, because when you get the rotation, going forward with the upper body, then rotation the opposite direction, we're just jamming facet joints in those vertebrae in his spine. So he's going to feel his back hurting and say, wow, that was a great drill. I really feel it. No, you're actually wrecking your spine, kid. But I hope you catch a butterfly in that bucket.
I think maybe what he's doing. I think what he's maybe doing, Ryan, is he's practicing shoveling the shit.
That's true. That's true.
Well, I'm glad
this man. Whatever, we say whatever we want. We're not monetized yet, anyway. Who gives a shit?
No.
So
I don't think you can say shit.
We're not going to get it that way.
That's true. I'm glad you guys, unprompted, mention the scissor kick, right? Because I do have another good one for you guys to see here.
This also, before we go, has at counting, I guess that heart thing is how many likes this thing has, and that's at 311. So there's 311 insane people on the planet that we know of. Go on.
This next video you're gonna see has over 10,000 views.
Oh God help us.
And this is I don't even know what to say here.
What
is that the name on the top left? Top left. That's what that
no!
It's our friend.
Yes.
Our friend Joe Clune.
All right, so for those who, first of all, if you have to go on our YouTube channel and watch this is as bad as the catchers jumping in the pool last week. So we have a left-handed hitter who's in like a split kind of stance and is jumping up and swinging at a tee as he switches his feet the other way, while House of Pain plays in the background. I just had that.
You're probably not wrong. Yeah. Or Van Halen jump.
And the tee
let the dogs out.
And the tee, he's jumping as he's in the air swinging as the tee is up by the kid's chin. Jason, this is all yours.
And
he's hitting, your boy.
He's also hitting, if you notice, he's hitting a very weak ground ball to the pitcher.
Yes. But let's let Jason have first stab.
So let's go back to this, guys. And again, I don't talk about people, but unless it's asked for. So this same guy has a video on his Twitter saying, I may not have it all figured out. I may be doing it wrong. Then why are you charging people money? Because that's fraud.
Right.
While you're in your little fun house making up stupid, we can say shit, right? Like this.
Oh, you can say shit.
We already broke the levy on that one.
Broke the shit on that, all right.
There are actual professionals that know what they're doing, but the whole concept here, I don't understand why he wants to take away friction and ground reaction force from that back leg. It makes no sense. But to add, this is like the bucket is another level of stupid to what he's already teaching. So this is like 1, 2, 3 levels of stupid, which I didn't know was achievable, but now we see it is.
That's the hat trick.
Is there 4 levels of stupid, or do we stop? Like, is this the ceiling of stupid?
Give him a week.
Give him a week. He's going for the golden sombrero next week.
Yeah.
I've literally, oh my God. I mean,
it's almost as if he was in attendance for the Jeff Fry teacher man debate. And because Coach Malley there talked about a time, right, to sort of counteract something that teacher man was saying, that he said, and I think he was talking about how you could take a video and you can find anything you want in a video. You can search videos and go, hey, look, so you're supposed to hit on your front foot. Look at this piece of contact. See this photo I have? And that's what he was rebutting. And he talked about a time when Jose Altuve during a hit and run had to jump and hit the ball up and away. And I think maybe Joey here was in attendance and said, you know what? We're going to work on just that.
Well, Jose Altuve is also 5'2", so that could have been a strike to anybody else. He had to jump and hit it anyway.
That's true.
And he's wired for sound, but we won't go there. We do have a live comment from our live audience who said that this gentleman should be wearing ballerina shoes. He's in the wrong kind of.
So I was going to say the same thing. I mean, this is ballet, or the Winter Olympics just ended. He may be working on his figure skating technique. I'm not sure. I would love to see him do this drill with the bucket in his hand instead, and see what comes up with there.
Well, the one good thing
would be looking like he's out in the field trying to catch butterflies.
The kid looks like he's got some ups. He might be able to dunk.
Honestly,
he might be able to throw it down. No,
God.
Oh, you're up. Next, he's probably going to add to the post and take one shoe off and say he's increasing proprioception. Hashtag fascia, right? This is a hashtag fascia swing.
This is a Yes, this is a So we would call this. We have a very famous mental institution in our area called McLean's Hospital. This is hashtag McLean's Hospital.
Yeah.
That's where this person should be going. Not the kid. Well, I don't know. Who knows?
Not to mention one fact that we missed that just got a text from somebody is pitch selection, right? Let's make sure that we can hit that nose level fastball, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, without question.
I don't know if we can get to the 4th level of stupid, but this is in the same vein, right? At least we're not doing the scissor kick here, but this will be the last one I have for the day.
Oh, there's another. Oh my goodness.
We got one more.
Right,
so it's not scissor kick level. This is, again, just something like, why would you do that, right? That's why we named it this segment. So.
Oh boy.
Oh my goodness.
Why? What's the point?
All right, so I'll describe it. We've got a kid jumping onto a plyo box, and as he lands, he swings the bat at a ball. And
I figured it out.
All right, hurry up. What do you got?
It's CrossFit baseball, man. Come on.
Come on. I gotta give a talk there Saturday. Don't be so wild. I have myself in trouble.
So wild, bro. 40 box jump, baseball hacks for time. As fast as
baseball hacks for time. I love it.
I love it.
That's what it is. You can't see it, but that's a weighted bat.
Right? Is it?
Yeah,
I don't know. Well, I'm just playing along with the CrossFit.
Yeah, it probably is. Oh my, yeah.
Just playing along with the CrossFit idea, right? Might as well make that a 72-ounce bat while you're at it, right?
Are those magnums? The shorts are those Tom? Are those a little too short? Are those Tom Magnums from back in Magnum PI? That's like mid thigh. No, that's
Kevin.
Mid thigh.
Kevin, you're showing your age. Only you're arcing the ones past your knees right now.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, this is back in style.
All right. Okay. All right.
So that's what I got for the
Ryan, top best of all time, dude. Top notch. Those are fantastic.
That was a good group of videos.
Yeah. All right, fellas. Well, good show. So, Jason, one more time, do you want to just kind of say how people can get in touch with you? And thank you for being our guest today. That was fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I had a great time. Through the website, thekинeticarm.com, all the emails go straight to me. So more than happy to answer any questions and help protect your arm. And then definitely check us out on Instagram at the Kinetic Arm, and also Facebook and Twitter. Not doing too much on Twitter, but this is getting a little fun, so I'll start.
I'm gonna start poking you. And like I mentioned before, I'm on Jeff Stanik's podcast on Friday at 2:00. It's called Figured Out Baseball. It's something I actually taped a couple months ago. It's all about again, arm injuries and pitching injuries, so that should be pretty fun. And that's all I got.
If you're in the Atlanta area and you looking at getting in shape, you can also go visit Jason at eliteedgeatl.com, right?
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
There we go. Of course.
Where we have CrossFit, his new program of CrossFit.
Baseball, baby.
I am hated by every CrossFitter in the area. I actually had a little email spat with one of their head guys too.
Yeah,
so it's fun, but I mean, it keeps us, honestly, we get their injured people, whether it's for muscle testing or a membership here.
I'm also giving a talk at the local
Kevin
CrossFit on Saturday.
You're gonna be
and actually I'm going to be talking about I'm not even going to go down that path. I'm going to be talking about deceleration training as a way to prevent injury. So if you're in the local CrossFit area at like 0800 on Saturday, come see me.
Is CrossFit on military time? Is that what that is?
Oh my God, that's too early.
Better learn the buzzwords.
Yeah,
exactly. You got to learn the lingo.
Exactly.
I actually went through the level 1, not by choice, and they told me with the front squats, they said gently force, and I said stop. Gently and force don't go in the same sentence when we talk about the body.
Oh my God.
So, I mean, I said literally, go get me a chisel and a belt sander, because that's called structure. Those are my actual bones.
That's a hard end feel, we like to call it in the PT world.
Yeah, it's not happening in my world.
Well, Jason, thank you again. We'll definitely have to have you on, because this
great time.
I had a lot of fun. Thanks everybody for listening, and we'll see you guys